Hey, welcome to Eat Your Backyard, my YouTube channel where I talk about all kinds of tropical, subtropical plants, edibles, just cool things that I'm into. Hope you're into them too. If you are, just don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you like it. Okay, let's get started. Today I wanted to make a video about an idea, a concept that I would call uncommon common sense. And that is planning out the size, the ultimate size of the plant you're planting, the tree you're planting, before you plant it, and how that's going to impact what's above it, what's around it. This is a really important idea, and this is a striking example of what I'm talking about. This is a live oak tree, and it was planted directly, well, just to the side of a high voltage line that's about 25 feet up. This tree will get 70 feet tall, so the inevitable happened. It grew up into the power lines. And then, of course, the power company comes along and scalps the middle of it, and it grows and grows, and eventually it turns into this. Now, this is a never-ending source of maintenance. You have to just maintain and trim this tree. And the act of trimming this tree now is very dangerous. Take a look at this middle section. Those branches are already touching up against that I think that's the actually cable TV line there, the lowest one. But you know, you're in amongst power lines, and that's no place where you want to be trimming. It's not worth dying to trim a tree, and this is just clearly the wrong tree for that spot. Another aspect of this tree that you should consider, well, you consider about all trees, is what are the roots going to do? What is it going? Sorry about that. What is the base of the tree going to do? You can see how it has these the trunk, that the roots are already coming out, and they will kind of come above the surface. And in fact, when it comes to an oak tree, they're going to push up the soil around them. It has a tremendous root pan that develops. With most oak trees I'm aware of, Laurel Oak, the live oak, the kinds that grow commonly around Central Florida, that root pan will extend out as far as the canopy, and you can see that the canopy extends out pretty far. I'd estimate it right around 40, 50, maybe even 70 feet when it's in a mature state. But what are these roots going to do? Well, there's a sidewalk right there, right next to it. They're going to grow under that sidewalk, and they're going to lift that sidewalk. That's going to create a hazard. It's going to crack the sidewalk. It's going to make it dangerous. So why would we do that? There's so many other choices so many other incredible plants and trees that we could have put in that spot. So before you decide on a tree, you might be picking one out. I do this a lot, and trying to decide what will fit best where. Think it through, some of the basic principles of landscaping, but this is a real common sense thing. What's above it? What's around it? And what's that tree going to look like 10, 20 years from now? If it's an oak tree, it's going to look pretty gigantic. So let's think through it. There's a lot of great places to grow an oak tree. Right next to a sidewalk, underneath a power line, is probably not one of the preferred places. All right, now let's take a look at a different placement, different selection of where to plant an oak tree. And this is actually a great example of a good place to plant it. Nice open area. Let's focus in on that so you can see. This is a slightly different variety than the other one. This is a laurel oak. The one I showed you before is a live oak. Live oaks tend to get a little bit taller. Laurel oaks tend to spread out. But we know this laurel oak is going to really spread out, and it did. And as a matter of fact, it makes a great place to park the car if you don't mind lots of oak leaves and pollen showering down on it. But it's got plenty of room to grow and become a beautiful full tree. No power lines nearby. There's no pavement or sidewalks near it. So I would commend this person in their selection. That's a great, you could even hang a swing on that thing. Look at it. There's a great climbing tree. I could see some kids having a lot of fun, maybe building a tree fort up there. And I'm sure there's about 100 squirrels that call that place home. So this is a terrific example of where to plant something like a laurel oak. Every tree, every plant is different, and you need to really think about what it's going to look like in the long term. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learned something about it. about placing trees? If you did, go ahead and give me a like. Give me a comment if you have some other ideas related to this subject. And thanks for watching.